I'm going to share a cold potential reality, and it may be one of the key reasons it's so hard for people battling with obesity to get over the metabolic hurdles and regain their health. The more fat an individual accumulates, the less efficient fat burners they likely become. And it seems this all may track back to genes and mitochondria. Literally, the first two things complex cellular life needed to, well, get complex and stuff. Two things, might I add, we present-day intelligent walking apes have some manipulation powers of. Let's see how. Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftinbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and longevity and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic way. Today we are talking about a good old metabolic chicken and egg problem. Do we need to fix the obesity to fix the mitochondria, or the mitochondria to fix the obesity? A conundrum that science is, and likely will be, debating for years. However, we do know this. Mitochondria, or the critical energy-producing organelles, which reside by the thousands in nearly every one of our trillions of cells, are the X factor that seem to be at the center of cellular and metabolic health as we know it. Not only by providing the oh-so-important energy we need to sustain cellular life, ATP, but also signaling the cell via molecules they secrete to perform certain functions. The most extreme being programmed cell death. Yeah, pretty serious. However, on a less lethal yet still serious note, they can cultivate an environment which changes the expression of genes, and vice versa. Epigenetic changes, or genes being upregulated or downregulated, can drive changes in mitochondria efficiency and function as well. And it's all of this compounded over the span of years to decades, which ends up being a driving factor in us humans' health and vitality over time, aka our longevity, or getting the best out of our pretty cool meat suit for as long as humanly possible, which I would say is knowingly or unknowingly on all of our to-do list. Which brings us to obesity, or the clinical condition where the body accumulates too much fat to the point where it starts to contribute to the dysfunction across the various systems of the body. Dysfunction, which is always the prerequisite for the longevity no-no word, disease. Whatever you do, don't say that 3 times in a row in front of a mirror in your bathroom. Since 1975, a mere 50 years ago, the number of people with obesity has nearly tripled, resulting in a good old worldwide epidemic, with nearly half of the population suffering from metabolic abnormalities, which are not only making it more difficult for them to feel how they are capable of feeling, but also, as we'll see with this new hot off the scientific streets research, more difficult to burn the fat. In fact, it's still being heavily debated whether it's the fat that drives the dysfunction or the dysfunction that drives the fat. But I think it's actually quite clear. They both drive each other in a non-stop feedback loop which does not cease until someone with the cognitive gift to understand complex things throws a monkey wrench into the gears of dysfunction, aka the individual. You. Which we'll talk about how to do in just a little bit. But first, let's take a look at this new data. Researchers out of University of San Diego sought to see what exactly was happening to mitochondria when an organism ate an obesogenic diet. To do this, they leveraged a mouse model and observed these cheese-loving rodents' mitochondria when fed a high-fat diet, looking specifically at the mice's white adipose tissue, or the tissue type which makes up the majority of fat stores across the body. And what they found was quite eye-opening. They observed that the high-fat diet caused mitochondria fragmentation across the white adipose fat cells. Fragmentation meaning the division of mitochondria into more smaller mitochondria, a process known as fission. And you might be thinking, isn't that good? More mitochondria, more efficiency, right? Well, not when it impairs the mitochondria's function along the way, which it did here, being shown to have a dampening effect on the oxidative capacity of mitochondria across the cell, essentially making them less capable of efficiently burning fatty acids and doing all the other things that they do. Oh. Researchers noted that this seemed to be a byproduct of the overactivation of a gene called RAL-A, RAL-A, shifting the balance of mitochondria dynamics towards excessive fission or division and leading to repressed energy expenditure. In layman's terms, dysfunction which makes it harder to burn energy, like fat. Now, I must remind you, this was in mice, and animal data often does not translate one for one with humans. However, many of the pathways are consistent, and this, at the very least, gives us a glimpse into one of the many things happening with the disease of obesity. With that, let's get to the fun part. Is it possible to brute force your way out of this dysfunction and fix your metabolic self? I mean, I certainly think there are some ways. And it turns out, despite all of our modern pharmaceuticals and technological advancements, the most powerful things that we can do to promote the health and function of our cellular machinery ends up being plain old boring lifestyle habits and their frequency in our daily routines and rituals. What exactly moves the cellular needle, you ask? Well, the top intervention may very well be consistent exercise. And I know, I get it. You've been hearing exercise more since you came out of the womb. But let me tell you why badonkadonking is as close to the fountain of youth as we may get. First, it immediately begins to improve your mitochondria situation, recycling the weak, leaky ones via a process called mitophagy, and promoting the creation of new healthy ones via mitochondria biogenesis. This increases the capacity of strong, non-leaky mitochondria and reduces inflammation by both eliciting a strong anti-inflammatory response and making mitochondria less likely to leak damaging free radicals. Exercise has also been observed to alter a boatload of genes which improve cellular and metabolic function, so it just cannot be ignored. 120 minutes a week working at 60 to 80% max heart rate is a great goal to strive for. And we have a number of videos talking about how to ease into it, which I will link below. Next, and not surprisingly, what we eat matters too. Real whole foods filled with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, polyphenols, healthy fats, fiber, and protein fuel, lubricate, and repair your cellular machinery in ways no prescription can compare to. It provides the building blocks for all the proteins, peptides, hormones, and neurotransmitters that we need, promoting the growth and maintenance of healthy cells with healthy mitochondria, while reducing inflammation both directly through antioxidant promoting pathways and indirectly by modulating things such as the microbiome, mitochondria function, and inflammatory tissue types like visceral fat. Just a few things to, keep in mind when you're choosing your next snack. And as we know, with eating comes strategically not eating, as practices such as daily time-restricted feeding and intermittent fasting have been shown to upregulate beneficial rest, rejuvenation, and repair pathways. But you already knew that because we've been talking about it for years all across the Fasting 101 playlist. It ramps up cellular and mitochondria cleanup pathways such as autophagy and mitophagy, helping rid the dysfunction before it proliferates. It re-energizes stem cells or non-specific cells which differentiate into different tissues based on what the body needs, increases the production of healthy immune cells upon refeed, reduces inflammation levels, and boosts mitochondria plasticity and integrity. Yeah, strategic meal timing has some biological pull. And speaking of integrity, all of our cellular and metabolic integrity goes out the window when we are chronically sleep deprived, as sleep deprivation has been shown to alter our mitochondria's bioenergetics capacity, decreasing respiration efficiency and increasing the expression of genes involved in oxidative stress. Oh, And we mustn't forget that sleep deprivation is linked to an uptick in stress and cravings for those ultra-processed, energy-dense, nutrient-scarce foods the next day, which ironically lead to worse sleep, a straight master recipe for fat accumulation and dysfunction. So aim for good circadian aligned sleep, rising and falling with the sun, and prioritize a consistent 8-hour sleep opportunity each night. Other key modulators of your inner cellular machinery include managing stress, as low-dose chronic stress is right up there with chronic inflammation in its nefarious effects, limiting exposure to pollutants and toxins in everyday products, spending more time in nature and grounding, incorporating more good stressors such as heat and cold exposure, and even breathing right. Here's a hint: use your nose. Think of all these lifestyle interventions as a way to actively repair, maintain, and upgrade your cellular machinery, including the trillions of mitochondria facilitating each and every one of our lives at this very second, while also tilting the expression of your genes. You know, the ones that code for proteins which enable all the biological functions you need for life, you, in a health-promoting direction. And no, it likely won't be a walk in the park, especially in this modern disease-promoting landscape which we must all navigate, which seems to get harder each and every damn day. But it'll be worth it, because feeling how you're capable of feeling, the default human state, good, refreshed, restored, rejuvenated each and every day, is the best reward you'll ever experience. So be one of the few who step up and make that a reality. You have all the biological machinery that you need. You just gotta put it in a position to operate efficiently and do its thing. Because remember, when your trillions of mitochondria are happy, there's a good chance you're happy too. Science.